Imagine a smarter, happier, cooler version of yourself. Now imagine that that could be you next year. Or what about next month? Or even next week? Do you think that would be possible? Well, I didn't. Not until it happened to me. And I changed faster and more than I could ever imagine. In fact, it's happening at the moment. Every week, I am changing at a rate of, I don't know, it's like being a completely different person. Now, if you want to be your best self, living your best life without wasting time, grab your free life map below, where I'll teach you how to design, build, and live your ideal lifestyle. My mum gave me this book for my 40 somethingth birthday, 30 somethingth birthday. Didn't really think much of it. It was a second-hand book. It had a $4 price ticket on it. It was just another personal development book to me. I was going traveling or something, so I put it in a box, packed it away, and didn't think anything of it. Had other things to be able to study, other things to do. Wasn't an issue. Then I went through this nasty breakup where it was a weird relationship, and it didn't make a lot of sense. It left me really messed up in the head. And I remembered this book. So I dug it out and I started reading it. And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that my mum gave me this book, because it has been life changing for me in so many ways. And I still work with the principles from that book to this day. And I'm talking 6, 7, 8 years later. So when I had gone through this relationship breakdown, my mental health not in a good place at all. But I read through this book and I started working my way through bits and pieces. Dr. Joe started talking about how the body works, how the brain works, how it's all interrelated. He didn't just talk in the woo-woo spiritual side of things, which you get with a lot of these people that are talking about meditation and whatever. He backed everything up with science, and he continues to back things up with science, spending I don't know how much money testing all of these different things on the people that he works with on a regular basis, so that you're not just dealing with, the woo-woo spiritual whatever. You're actually dealing with scientific facts. And now the scientific community is taking what he has been teaching to bring it into mainstream, to show, hey, this is real. This isn't just something that we've made up or something that someone thinks is a real thing. Anyway, I was so hooked from this book that I did all the activities that were in there as I went through them. And then that had meditations to do with them. You could follow along with the meditations by reading the part in the book, or you could go and buy the meditations. Well, I straight up went and bought the meditations, and then I did those meditations, and things started happening. Things started changing in my brain. It's called breaking the habit of being yourself for a reason. You literally just rewire what's going on in your brain, and it changes your personality. Now, are you still the same person? Yes, but the whole idea is you are not the same miserable person or depressed person or anxious person or what have you. You start to move through these stages and come out thinking, oh, okay, there's more to this life. I could do this. I might be able to do this. I have these different options in my life, and you do not feel trapped like you may feel right now or you may have felt in the past. So, here's what this book is all about. Firstly, go and read the book or listen to it. If you've got a Spotify account, you can listen to the audiobook version and just do that while you're driving to work. But if you can listen to or read this book, take that information on, and then you're going to understand why you think, act, and feel the way you do. You're going to have the context of what's going on and why it's going on, what's happening in your life right now, and then what's happening in your brain when you go into this meditative state, how you can access different meditative states, how you can change the timeline of what's going on in your life into something that's more in line with what you really want. So you really need to take on what's in the book so you can understand what he's talking about before you go and do it. Now, sure, you can jump in and go and do his meditation straight away. That's fine. But context plays a big part in you understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And when you understand why, things will make more sense as you work through the meditation. Things will make more sense in your everyday life as weird coincidences pop up. Or you meet a particular person and they say a particular thing, guide you into this sort of area, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh wow, I was only just thinking about that earlier. So start by reading or listening to this book and understand the context of it. If you need to, go and have a look at his YouTube channel and have a look at some interviews, things that he talks about, different podcasts that he might have been mentioned on. Get the context and the background for who this guy is and what he does, and then go and get stuck into this book, because it is absolutely worth it, and it's so interesting to understand how the brain works. Okay, it's interesting to me because I'm a bit of a biology nerd like that. I love knowing how the human body works. I love knowing how the psychology works. But if you can get started with this, it might sound really complex at first, but the more you understand it, the more you start to study it, the easier it's going to be for you to be able to understand and then take on board and make the changes as you go. So your second step is go and do the activities that are in the book. That way, you can start to become aware of the thoughts and the actions and the feelings that you are experiencing on a daily basis. See, a lot of the time we're not even aware of our thoughts, and we try and silence that noise in our head with some of the addictive behaviors that we have, which might be streaming, music, going to different events. It could be with food or alcohol. It could be with porn or sex or over socializing, whatever it takes to dull out that background noise that's going on in your head. So instead of going towards those addictions, you can actually take the time to stop and listen to what's going on in there. And when you can listen to what's going on in there, then you're aware of what it's being saying, and you're able to do something about it. What about actions? There's a lot of different actions that you take each day that are just unconscious. You're not thinking about it, you're just doing it on autopilot because you do it day in, day out. Are all of those things good for you? Are they supporting what you want or where you really want to go? Or are there a lot of self-destructive behaviors in there? Is there some self-sabotage patterns that run just automatically and you're completely unaware of it because you're not paying attention? What about the feelings that you have each day? How do you feel on a general day? Are you feeling happy, grateful, enthusiastic, excited? Or are you more leaning towards feeling depressed, anxious, angry, frustrated? Whatever it is, it's okay, but it's really good to understand that you know where your feelings are. You know what those feelings are. You might not understand why you're having those feelings, but at least if you can understand and identify those feelings, then you have a chance of being able to do something about it, because thoughts, actions, and feelings can all be changed. And this is what it's about. If you want to be someone else, or you want to change who you are into a better version of you, well, you need to be able to understand why you're doing what you're doing and what you are doing, what you're thinking, what you are feeling. All right. Number 3, think about the future that you really want and what that might look like, what that might feel like. See, we all have some sort of idea of what we want out of our life, but the more time you spend thinking about that, could be mentally rehearsing that, or just daydreaming, or, oh, I wish I could go and do that thing. That's kind of creating the life that you want in the future. And if you can figure out what that is in a really clear picture, then you're going to be able to move closer and closer towards that. Now, it's all well and good to have that picture in mind, but you can't just get away with it being a picture and that being all it is. You've got to do something about it. So you probably need to upgrade your thoughts. You probably need to upgrade your actions. You probably need to upgrade your feelings. And those things can all come into play as you rehearse that future you. Like, how does the future you act? If that person that wants to live this particular life, do they have to act in a slightly different way? Do they have to think in a different way? Do they have to feel in a different way? Or do you just want to feel in a different way? Because if you can tap into that, then you can start to live into that future a whole lot more. you can understand who that person might be who is living that different life and work your way towards that. Number 4, I want you to learn to tune into your body and then the empty space that is around your body. Now, this is a Dr. Joe thing. This is how he gets you meditating. We're so focused on what's going on in our body, this hurts, I can feel this thing, I can do this thing, I can move this, there's pain here, I don't like these things about me. We're so focused on us, on the body that we're walking around in. He wants you to shift your focus somewhat to being focused on the space that's outside your body. And it seems strange, and it took a long time for me to really understand this, but the more you can take note of that empty space and pay more attention to the empty space, that space of nothing, you can start to relax into the nothing. And what that means is, at least that means to me, is more when you are focusing on the nothing, you don't have to be thinking anymore. You can silence everything that's going on in there. Now, brings me back to when I started meditating, and it was all about quiet your mind. Just sit still and quiet your mind. And my mind's just running like a million miles an hour with so much going on in there. And I'm like, this is stupid. Why would I possibly do that? But the more you can practice focusing on this empty space, this quiet, this nothingness, this blackness, the more you can get it from the chaos that's going on in here and just get things quiet. And it is a very strange feeling, but the more you practice, the better it gets. And you have to keep bringing yourself back to focusing on that empty space outside your body, because it's really easy to focus on our thoughts or focus on our feelings, focus on how something hurts or whatever. But it's a practice thing. So if you can shift your focus, then things are going to shift for you in a different way as well. You go to a creative space. This creative space allows you to tap into what he would call like the collective consciousness, or the universe, or universal knowledge, or whatever, the source of all things, God even. Now, finally, step number 5 is practice the meditations daily. Now, breaking the habit of being yourself has some meditations that go with it. And he suggests you don't start doing the whole thing straight away. You start out with section 1. Then you start out with adding section 2 onto it. Then you'd add section 3 onto it, and you'd add section 4 onto it as you get better at it. Because meditating, it can be difficult, and it can be just a very hard thing for someone to learn if they are an anxious person or find it difficult to sit still or relax. And I'm absolutely in that boat. So I totally understand it, and I would urge you to take this approach. So the first step is really just going to be sitting there and focusing on that space outside your body and getting used to that. And you might practice that for a week or two before you add the next thing on, and the next thing on, and the next thing on. Now, you might find it to be absolute overkill to do a meditation that is 40, 50, 60 minutes long. Totally understand that. But focus on that first 10 or 15 minutes and work out how you can do that on a regular basis, because you're going to get a huge benefit out of just doing that part alone. But as you get the results from the work, you start to see your life changing. You start to feel your brain relaxing. You might want to take on a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, until you get to a point like me where it's easy to do a meditation for 45 minutes out of your day, or an hour out of your day, sometimes longer than that, sometimes multiple meditations a day, because you get so much of a benefit out of it that you want to spend time in that place so that the rest of your day has this magical quality about it, and things start to change. You start to shift your identity. You start to stop being the anxious or depressed or miserable, frustrated, angry self, and you start to just let that soften, and things change, and you feel better, and life feels more exciting, and you end up in this space where you are enjoying life again. You feel like you are in flow with life. You get to a point like me where you're ready to jump out of bed and get started on the day because you're excited for what's going to happen, whatever it's going to be. Now, yes, I got up this morning and I did my meditation. In fact, first thing I do before I even check my phone or what have you, just roll over and press play, and I get into that meditation and I start my day that way because I know how much better I feel, and I know how that sets me up for the rest of the day, puts my heart in a positive space where I am less focused on the bad things that are going on in my life or the pain or whatever it is, and I'm now focused on creating this new reality that I want to live into. This book's been one of the most important books that I've ever read, and it's impacted me and my life in ways that I can't even explain. It's absolutely profound what's happened in my life since exploring this sort of thing. And the work in this book, the practices, it's changed my life probably better than anything else I've tried, and I have been in this personal development world for I think 25 years now. So if you're willing to look at your life and go all in, you too are going to have some breakthroughs that will just blow your mind and set your life up to the point of you feeling like you can be someone else, or you can, even more so, be the best version of yourself. Now, if you want to win this year, you can grab my 28-day life map below, where I'll guide you through this program for 28 days and help you design, build, and live a life that you absolutely love. Click the link below. I'll see you on the inside.